So how did you get started being interested in food in general? Like, did you grow up around food? Was this something that you've been interested from a young age, or is this something that came up during the creator era, if you will?
No, way before the creator era. I mean, the food passion starts when I was a baby, a toddler. I don't know, like, the first food I ever ate was Chinese food. I was like the kid in Brooklyn that, like, as a toddler, like the special lunch of my mom was like going to Thai food, like always very, very, very interested in it. I loved eating it. And then, like, that sort of blossoms through really like watching TV. Like the original Japanese Iron Chef was my favorite thing ever. And like watching that and then working it and going along with it. And but it all started 35 plus years ago.
Well, now I watch your content. I'm very impressed, and I'll make this comparison, and some people will say I'm crazy or something, but it's very Anthony Bourdain-esque. Like, you're very articulate in what you're experiencing, your description of the food, and then the types of places you go to, I feel are very urban, very similar to some of the stuff you would see on a few of his shows. What is that? So obviously you live in New York, so you're doing a lot of New York content, but then I also see a ton of content in Tokyo and, other big urban areas. What's your process there? Like, have you gone everywhere? I've seen your content for a while now, but it seems like I got something else specific I want to talk to you about was the egg salad. But where do you find, is that your sweet spot in big urban areas, or do you go other places as well?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, comparing yourself to, or being compared to Bourdain, is the ultimate compliment.
Yeah.
I don't say that, but obviously, like, that is what you always want to try and achieve. And I think that, like, one thing that's really funny is, like, I never thought my goal was never to be on camera. So I don't know if, like, I have, like, that amazing skill set to be on camera. It's something I've certainly worked on and found my own groove and whatever, but I'm still, like, very critical of myself. And I always think that, like, I'm not the person that could, like, taste something and break down a dish. And I've, again, tried to improve on that or whatever. And I try to kind of do that in the VO instead, where I could really, like, understand the dish more than just taste it or whatever. But then I went back and was watching some of whatever Bourdain it was. I forget, he says so many series. And one huge takeaway I got from it was like, oh, he's not breaking down the dish. Like, he's more just telling you how he feels. And that was, like, really eye-opening to me. I'm like, oh, okay, like, I don't have to be so technical. Like, I'm sure he could be technical. He's an amazing chef.
Sure.
But truly what made him so special was the storytelling and sort of, like, bringing you into that moment to make it feel like you were sitting there with him eating at that table. I think that's what I try to evoke more than anything. But then in terms of, like, where I'm filming, I live in New York City. So obviously a lot of content's there, but then I travel a ton, and I end up traveling almost once a month. But when I travel, I get a lot of content. So I was just back in Japan, and I went back to Korea, but being there for over 3 weeks, I shot 70 videos. I mean, that's months of content. So it seems like I'm traveling even more. I travel a lot. It seems like I'm traveling even more than I am. And that's mostly just due to, and it's mostly big cities, just the way I like to travel. It's I'm there for working. It makes it way easier, and I travel all over. But then also, it's just, there's so many influencers now, especially in New York City, where it's really hard to stand out. Like, am I going to make the 100th video about that same restaurant everyone's going to? Or am I going to go to Houston for a weekend and discover all these new amazing places and kind of tell that story? So I love New York. It's the best food city in the world, but, it's also a business. And just personally too, like, I'm kind of bored sometimes with the same restaurant. So it's fun to travel and kind of share that experience as well.
What do you think about, or have you done much content around barbecue? I know that there's a few great barbecue places in New York specifically. Is there anything that gets you excited around barbecue?
Yeah, I mean, yes, we have, like, a very small selection of barbecue here in New York, but but the barbecue stories end up being much more when I travel, just because those are so much bigger of a story. And, like, if I'm going to Texas, going there for barbecue. If I'm going to North Carolina, I'm going there for barbecue. So it ends up being more of that.
Any place that stands out to you that you went to as far as barbecue goes?
I'm the worst with names, so I'd have to actually look through my own content to remember anything. But certainly when I was in Austin, incredible barbecue. When I was in Houston, incredible barbecue. Yeah.
Talk to me about egg salad. The first time I started digesting some of your content, it seemed like you had like 3 different types of egg salad sandwiches, and you were just obsessed with these egg salad sandwiches. So talk to me about the couple different versions of them. Like, obviously everyone in America knows what a classic egg salad on white bread is, but when you go to Asia, it's something a little bit different, and there's a couple different types. Talk me through that.
Yes. So my favorite thing in the whole world are these kombini egg salad sandos from Japan, from the Japan convenience stores. And when you're in Japan, convenience stores are not like in America. They just, one, on literally every corner, every single corner has like all 3 main ones, which are like 7-Eleven, Lawson, and Family Mart. And when I say every corner, I mean every single corner in a big city. All big cities have these.
Yeah.
And the food there is just incredible. Everything you get there is incredible and dirt cheap. I mean, the dollar is very strong, but even without the dollar being very strong, it is dirt cheap to eat incredible food. And they have these like selection of sandos, but my favorite is the egg salad sando. And like the actual egg salad itself, I guess, isn't so different than what you would get in America. I mean, you could say the eggs are better and they use Kewpie and whatever, some special ingredients. It's not necessarily the mix. It's just more of like there's a few things. I think the approach to food in Japan is really different than America. Now, these sandwiches are like $1.25. And I think that if you were to buy a sandwich in America that's $1.25, you're not necessarily going to get the same care and attention in it that you would at a sandwich that's $25. That's just how we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in Japan, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that it's cheap food. They're still going to perfect it and do everything they can to perfect it. So I think just like that level of it you're getting. And then 2, what's so magical about it is like, it's just this very delicate bite. It kind of comes from tea sandwiches.
Okay.
So they use shokupan, which is Japanese milk bread. So a very just like white bread, a little more flavor, I guess, than what we'd consider white bread. But it's just like very thin layer of that, very thin layer of egg salad. And it almost like melts in your mouth. Like for breakfast, I'll get like pack of that, a pack of tuna. So I'm eating like 2 of them at a coffee for breakfast. It costs me like $4. And what's special too is they're all pre-made because they're in the convenience stores. But one thing that's unique in Japan, and again, just can't be replicated in America, is that they are able to keep their refrigerators in the convenience stores at a higher temperature than in America. So if you were to make these in America and put them in a convenience store and have them sit there for a few hours, the bread's going to get cold, the bread's going to get weird, it's going to get kind of mushy and bad. By keeping it at almost just under room temp, it kind of just melds into the bread a little bit and kind of just keeps the same temperature and not weird.
Yeah.
So they are very magical. I sell merch with egg salad stuff on it. It's my favorite thing. When I'm in Japan, it is my breakfast every single day. No matter what.
Amazing.
And I'll try all of them or try many egg salad things as I can in Japan, but still 7-Eleven is my favorite.
That is so messed up. That comes from 7-Eleven. That's so crazy to me. But they look delicious. And I think it's a lot about the texture. And I love that soft texture too. That's really up my alley for sure.
Yeah. Another thing, like Americans kind of like, it's everything in one, like Americans are kind of weird about, which is why like people are like, you're going to Japan and just eating egg salad sandos. I'm like, yes, but like to me, it is as well as sushi and ramen and everything else you might consider Japanese. It is a perfect reflection of the Japanese palate and what they do so well about food also.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about New York a little bit. I've never been to New York, so I don't know a lot about it. I mean, I know it's kind of like similar to Chicago in a way where you can get just about anything there. What are some like non-negotiables if you were coming to New York you would have to go check out? Because I'm very interested in going and there's just so much to choose from, so I don't know how you really narrow it down, but what would be your top 5, say?
I actually made a video at the beginning of the year, and it was like best first day of eating in New York City.
Okay.
So it's like, you've never been to New York City, these are places you have to go. as much as we have the best of literally everything, no matter what kind of food, you could find it in some neighborhood that's incredible, whether it's like low end, high end, everything in the middle. I think the things that are specifically done in New York that are very hard, as much as I travel, I've never found somewhere else in the same way, is one, in New York City bagel. You just can't find them anywhere else. You could find Montreal-style bagels, and LA has LA-style bagels and whatever, but I've never had a New York City-style bagel outside of New York. So you absolutely have to get...
What makes it a great New York City bagel?
To me, it's like a little crusty on the outside, still like big and chewy on the inside, and that's just something that most places don't get right for some reason. I don't know. And, there's a whole thing in the water and this and water that, like even, I think H&H Bagels just opened in LA, and their whole thing is like, we're bringing water from New York City to LA to make these bagels.
Right.
Which, like, I guess, yes, to make them as exactly as they can, like in New York, that's fine. I don't really believe that necessarily.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's some magic sauce to get the texture right. So definitely bagels. On the list too, I have like Katz's pastrami, like a good New York City Jewish deli. Yeah, you can get like LA some good Jewish delis too, Montreal too. But like if you hear that's such like a New York thing, and it's cool. Italian deli too. Like there's like Italian American food in New York is like no other also. So I think like those like the three like core elements of what you want to get in New York, just because I've never found that same thing anywhere else.
I'm sure you're familiar, but the Dave Portnoy pizza reviews, where do you stand on New Haven style pizza, and what's your perfect style pizza for you? What do you like?
I do enjoy New Haven style pizza. I mean, there are two answers really. One, I just love a New York City slice.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm from New York City. That is what I grew up with. But the more controversial take is that Tokyo-style pizza is incredible.
I have to go back and look at a video about that. I have not seen that.
Yeah, there's like a top 5 Tokyo-style. And like every time I go to Japan, I eat a ton of pizza because the pizza there is, it's very like, they have a bunch of different types of pizza there. But
yeah,
the main, what I would consider Tokyo-style is like, Neapolitan, is it Neapolitan? Wait, now I'm forgetting. I'm confused with stuff. But it's like traditional Italian pizza. So it's like it's wood-fired.
Neapolitan.
Neapolitan, okay. Neapolitan, yes. Super chewy.
Yep.
And the difference in Japan is a few things. One, most places like put a twist in the crust.
Okay.
The level of salt and olive oil is obscene. But then two, where my favorites are still more the traditional flavor profiles, they do get like really wacky with it. Like they have a lot of pizzas with like a mayonnaise base. I did one when I was there at Savoy, and the base is mayonnaise, corn sauce, cheese. They put it, and then they take like raw sushi grade tuna, put a ball of it on top and throw it into the wood-fired oven. And then when it comes out, they break it up. So it's still raw tuna on top, just a little bit cooked. And then they give you wasabi for it. And it was like unbelievably good.
It sounds amazing. That's so cool. I think that you would like, and I'm sure you probably had it, but Detroit style pizza. We just made a video about it, and it's crunchy, but then yet super soft too. I don't know. I was just like, I haven't had it for years, and we just did a video on it, and I was really like impressed on the way it turned out. Not patting myself on the back, just saying that style of pizza is so soft. It's like focaccia bread almost.
Yes,
and then
like
you
how
put
airy it is. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was really, really good.
Well, I mean, I did a whole series called No Bad Pizza because I do not believe bad pizza exists. We've done a bunch of them, and like the basis is like, would you still eat that? Yeah, it's pizza. I would still eat it and enjoy it no matter what it is.
Right. I mean, I grew up my family's originally from Chicago. I was born down here. But then when I was like 1 year old, we moved to Wisconsin, and we grew up in the town called Wausau, Wisconsin, and they had a pizza called Sam's Pizza. And not knowing it at the time, but it was Chicago-style cracker crust pizza. And it's what I grew up, and they cut it into little squares. One piece was one bite. Every piece of pizza had one piece of sausage on it, and so you'd pick it up, and it was the perfect bite. And I just grew up loving that style of pizza. So when I go out to, the Nick and Vito's and places like that, there's a place called Marie's down here. That's what brings back memories of childhood to me as far as pizza goes. But I'm not a huge fan of the big, thick Chicago-style pizza.
The deep dish.
The deep dish, yeah. I'd rather have New York-style pizza versus the Chicago deep dish pizza. But Chicago cracker crust, now that's my style.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a place in New York, Emmitsburg Grove, which does like the Chicago bar-style pizza. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Anything else you wanted to talk about, or did you have any other experiences you'd like to share? What is your top, give me a couple top experiences food-wise that you've had. Just tell a story and we can weave that into the cast.
The food experiences I've had have just been like unbelievable. Just being able to travel the world and eating on any level is incredible. But on this past trip to Japan, when I was in Kyoto, I went to Monk. Monk was featured on Netflix Chef's Table Pizza.
Okay.
And they like the jumping off point, the thing like gets a headline. It's like Pizza Omakase is like the best restaurant in the world. I don't know if it's part omakase part isn't necessarily the pizza part. It's more like kaiseki style with what they say is like the pizza is in place of rice in it. But it's just like one of the most special eating experiences I've ever had. It's like very quiet and very beautiful. And the meal's real focus away from the pizza is like this hyper focus on vegetables and locally sourced vegetables to the point where like chef is like out in the fucking forest picking mushrooms the day of that you're going to eat there that day. The place he goes to get vegetables is the 7th generation farmer in Kyoto. And it was just really like a magical meal. And even though when I knew I was going to Kyoto, I think reservations open up like 2 months ahead of time or 3 months ahead of time. So every single day I had the reservation page open and I refresh, and I couldn't get a reservation. And then someone finally told me like, oh, they're closed the week you're going to be in Kyoto. And I was like, oh my God, this is my 3rd time in Kyoto. I was like, again, I'm missing out on it. And one of my followers, as I was like maybe a week or two before I was going to leave to go to Japan, they DM me and they're like, hey, did you see they're actually going to be open the week you're there now? And because nobody knew they were going to be open, I jumped and was able to get the reservation.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, just like a true, like the experiences that I love when I travel, it's not necessarily what is technically the best food I've ever had. I live in New York City. If I wanted to technically find the best pizza in the whole world, good chance I could do it in New York City, or pick any dish. I could do it in New York City. The things that I love about when I travel are experiences that can't be replicated. And you can't replicate. He could come to New York City. He could never open what he has in Kyoto in New York City. And that's what I love. Even when I was in Seoul, there's this dude that makes fried chicken. The restaurant is smaller than my apartment. And when you walk in, it's this old guy, 70s must be. I walked in there right when they opened, like at 4 p.m. No one was there. He's sitting there drinking a beer and smoking a cigarette, watching TV.
Nice.
He walks in and he's like chicken and beer. And that's it. You have to say yes because those are the only things on the menu and that's what you're getting. So like, and then he's just there. He didn't stop smoking a cigarette, but he made the fried chicken for me. Yeah. And like, have I had better fried chicken in the world? I don't know, maybe. But like that experience of it is something that I could never get anywhere else. Like that is what I like truly appreciate about what I'm able to do.
I couldn't agree more. And that's what we have done is travel for some barbecue places, especially early on before we had the restaurant and stuff. That was a big part of like kind of developing what we wanted to do as a restaurant, is traveling to Kansas City and Carolinas and Texas but some of the experiences, and not so much the food. The barbecue is great, but really getting the story behind the restaurant and behind the person that runs the restaurant is some of the best part of the whole experience. Like I said, barbecue is great. I mean, I won't say there's no bad barbecue because I have had bad barbecue before, but when you're at that level, when you're going to a place that's been open for 75 years or 100 years, you know the barbecue is going to be good. And it's about the story about, how have they been able to stay open for 75 years, and where do they source their meat, and where do they get their wood from? And, every place does it a little bit differently. And I think that that's the part of the experience that I enjoy too, is just hearing their story.